Hi, my name's Kira. I'm a recovered anorexic. I suffered with the disorder from I was 14 to 30, and in that time it consumed my life. It had a devastating effect physically and psychologically, and it was devastating to my family.
Anorexia nervosa is a devastating illness impacting 1% of the global population. In Australia, 1 in 20 suffer from anorexia, a condition with the highest mortality rate of any psychiatric disorder. It's the 12th leading cause of mental health hospitalisation costs within Australia. The social and economic costs of eating disorders are estimated to reach $70 billion. Stress, income loss, disruption to family relationships and adrenal fatigue from being on constant suicide watch leaves all those affected feeling overwhelmed, desperate and broken by this insidious disease. 1 in 5 individuals with anorexia nervosa who die prematurely commit suicide.
Anorexia nervosa is a serious psychiatric illness and it is associated with severe adverse medical and psychological effects. So obviously severe weight loss, but also severe depression and anxiety. As clinicians and researchers, we are currently facing many challenges when it comes to treating anorexia nervosa. First of all, there is a lack of evidence-based treatments available. And secondly, we know that only about 1 in 10 people suffering from an eating disorder ever receive appropriate treatment.
Recently, a lot of data has been coming out about what people are calling the brain-gut axis. And we don't understand it, but there are several neurologic conditions which seem to be connected to the microbiome, which is the thousands of bacteria which can live in your gut. And there are things that can affect this, so naturally it's affected by your diet, but possibly in some people there's certain components of the bacterial flora that are missing, or perhaps unusual ones or a strange balance. And these bacteria can produce different chemicals which we know can affect mood and neurologic functioning.
In patients with anorexia, we hypothesise that there is an imbalance of gut flora. In healthy patients, there is a huge diverse range of microbes that help promote a healthy environment. In patients with anorexia, we suspect that there may be a difference in the diversity of bacteria, but also in the abundance of different microbes compared to others. This might help explain the effect of these bacteria on the gut-brain axis. Imagine a jar of jelly beans of all different colours. This is what a healthy individual's gut flora looks like. Now imagine a jar of jelly beans that are black and white. Although they may be the same size, there is less variety and less diversity. This is what we hypothesise the gut flora of an anorexic individual to look like. In this study, volunteers supply a faecal sample which is transported to the lab under strict conditions. The sample is tested using genetic and metagenomic analysis to profile the composition and diversity of the microbiome.
So it's a simple concept. We are just going to take a poo sample, feces sample we call that in medicine, and we're going to run it through our DNA machine and find out what bacteria are in it by studying the DNA. And we will then be able to say whether or not people with anorexia nervosa have an imbalance or a disturbed ecology in their colon. The great part of this would be that if we can identify something like that that's relevant, we can probably modify it quite easily by changing to a special diet or giving a probiotic. So it's a great outcome if we can achieve it.
Our preliminary data suggests that even in our small sample size, there are significant differences in the abundance of certain bacteria. This suggests that the microbiome in anorexia may be significantly different.
We hope that this research will help us to figure out how to best re-nourish the gut microbiome of people with anorexia nervosa. This is really important, particularly during the refeeding phase of treatment. This is a time that can be very distressing for patients, and we want to be able to alleviate that if we can.
Funding for this project would be extraordinary. It potentially offers a significant step forward in the treatment for anorexia and gives people the opportunity to take their lives back and gives families their daughters and their sons back. So having a treatment for anorexia or a cure for anorexia would be, it has to be a priority.
We think the anorexia and microbiome relationships is an important one which could lead to even a cure for some patients with anorexia nervosa, just using diet or probiotics or something.